Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Corridor here, keeping it tanky in Raid Shadow Legends, and we got a lot to talk about today because we are going to be talking about this new Lemnisci's Chase, as well as the new fusion that's coming. I believe it starts tomorrow. There's also an event that will be taking place tomorrow, and then after that we'll see. Maybe we'll talk about something else to be determined on that. They're giving us Savage gear for Lemnisci here, the new login champion from the Sylvan Watchers. Let's go ahead and claim that piece and then we'll look at her kit. Alright, so what do we have here? We have a legendary Force Affinity Sylvan Watcher attack champion. Let's see, on the A1, attacks one enemy 2 times. If the target is under a shield, each hit has a 50% chance when booked of decreasing the value of the shield by 10%. Will also ignore 50% of the target's resistance if the target is from the Corrupted Alliance. Okay, so hunting Corrupted Alliance again. That's interesting. If the target is not under any shield buffs, each hit will ignore 10% of the target's defense instead. That's nice. On the A2, attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 100% chance of removing 2 random buffs from the target. Will ignore 50% of the target's resistance if they are from the Corrupted Alliance. This skill deals more damage equal to the value of the target's current turn meter, stacks up to 100%. So you want to hit the enemy with the highest turn meter when you're using this A2. That way you maximize how much damage it does.
Listen up, guys. You can get Elenaril for free, as well as Fayne, Uugo, and Tagoar as you level up. Just click my link in the description. Here's the steps to go about getting yours. Log out of Plarium Play on PC and uninstall. This will not work on mobile unless you are downloading it for the first time. Click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Launch Raid and complete the tutorial. Go to your inbox and claim your first champ. Don't miss out on your chance to get Elenaril for free, as well as 3 free epics. Just click my link in the description and enjoy this wonderful start to Raid.
On A3, attacks all enemies 2 times. The first hit has a 100% chance of placing heal reduction for 2 turns. The second hit has a 100% chance of placing block buffs on for 2 turns. Will ignore 50% resistance if the target is from the Corrupted Alliance. Very, very interesting. And then the passive here receives 15% less damage from enemies under heal reduction debuffs. Fills this champion's turn meter by 5% whenever an enemy receives a shield or is healed. This champion's interesting. And then she's got attack in all battles by 25%. The real big kicker here is going to be what are her multipliers. Now that was her level 1 stats. So I want to take, if she's up there, then that means she's going to be live in here, correct? Yes. Okay, so she does have 1520 base attack. 99 speed is not great. However, it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see what she can pull off. I hope she's good, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Okay, so Titus's thing is also up, which means we can go over his kit as well. What do we got going on here? I just watched Nub's showcase for this guy, and I suddenly regret pulling all my shards over the last 2 days because this guy is going to be a very important fusion to do. So don't blow your shards like I did. Hang on to that stuff because this guy's going to be really good. Why? Oh, well, attack on the A1, attacks one enemy, has a 60% chance of placing a block active skills for 2 turns. This effect cannot be resisted if this champion is under a shield buff. Whenever an ally counterattacks, does an ally attack, or instantly activates a skill, also has a 60% chance to place a block active skills on the target enemy. If there are multiple on the team with the skill, only one will activate. His damage is based off of defense. You do want to build him as a nuker, which is going to sound weird once I finish reading the kit, but trust the process. This is an interesting challenge for Chimera because block active skills is important for the Viper form. So if you can get a hold of counterattack or somebody who does ally attacks, you are going to have a high probability of placing that block active skills rather consistent. On the A2, attacks one enemy. This attack is always critical if this champion is under a shield buff. This attack also gains a damage boost equal to the value of the shield. Removes all debuffs from all allies if the target is killed. If the target survives, places provoke on all enemies for 1 turn instead. Cannot be resisted if this champion is under a shield. This is the reason that this guy is a must-do fusion. He is going to break the game. He's going to reissue an old era on a new version of a PvE strategy that was introduced by a rare champion, Corpulent Cadaver. They nerfed him. Then somebody else came along, I think it was Wixwell, came along and was doing it, and they nerfed him. Plarium said they're not nerfing this guy. So they're bringing back the Corpulent Cadaver strat with a Void Legendary. And I'm okay with that because he's a Void Legendary. We can have those broken strats. Just don't make it to where it's not special. He's a Void Legendary, so it's going to be hard to achieve it, but he's also a fusion. So it's possible for almost anyone to get a hold of him. This is why I think he is a must-do fusion. You can do billions of damage in Clan Boss. Both Demon Lord and Nub was doing like hundreds of millions to Chimera. I think it was Ultra Nightmare Chimera. He was doing hundreds of millions of damage with this champion. We haven't even got to the A3 or the passive. On the A3, places a ally protection, increase attack, and increase speed buff on a single ally for 2 turns. Also fills that ally's turn meter by 40%. Instantly activates this skill at the end of an ally's turn if that ally has no buffs and their HP is lower than 100%. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. This is such a good skill for Arena. Now, if you're using him for clan bosses, you are going to turn this one off so that way you don't outrun your buffs. But yeah, in PvP, it takes a little bit of finagling to work, but it's really fun to watch this guy just give the entire team all those buffs. And boosting all their turn meter. It's really fun. And then the passive, each time an enemy hits an ally, that ally's next attack will deal 10% more damage for each hit they take, stacking up to 100%. The damage increase resets after that ally deals damage. So nuker UDKs that run at like 2 speed, they just got better because now they can deal double damage with this guy around. They're going to be eating hit after hit after hit, and then they're going to get a turn and they're just going to melt because Titus buffed the ever-loving snot out of him. He's got HP, void HP in all battles by 40%, so you're not really going to be using his aura, but yeah. And if you can't do the fusion, at least grab one of these epics. Let's go over his kit. I thought he was really interesting. He's got 104 base speed, which is not bad for an epic. On the A1, attacks one enemy 2 times. The first hit has a 50% chance of placing Leech for 2 turns. The second hit has a 50% chance of placing Heal Reduction for 2 turns. Heal Reduction on an A1 is very important for Amius. This guy can really help you out in Amius potentially, which is one of the most annoying things in the game in my opinion. On the A2, places increased speed and continuous heals on all allies on a 3-turn cooldown. That's a really good skill for an epic. I think it would have been better to have a turn meter boost instead of the continuous heals, but that's just me. And then A3 attacks all enemies, decreases the turn meters of all enemies by 15%, has a 75% chance of placing stun on all enemies for 1 turn. Those of you that don't have Armons, here's a budget void epic version. It's not going to be a full turn meter steal, but you are going to decrease turn meter and have a pretty solid chance at placing stuns. And he's void, so he won't even have the weak hit issues that Armand's does. And then the passive, whenever an ally is attacked, fills this champion's turn meter by 5% once per attacked ally. So you go into the arena, you get AoE'd, and that's a 20%, well, I don't know if he counts himself. So 15 to 20% turn meter fill for himself each time somebody uses an AoE. Very strong. And then he's got attack in all battles by 25%, which doesn't really synergize with the rest of his kit, to be honest. But yeah, if you're not going for the fusion, and I really hope you do because he's that good, at least pick up an epic or 2 because this is a really solid champion. Yeah, so that's those 2 things. Okay, so there are also 2 new legendaries that just went live as well. Let's see if they are worth hunting we got Amok, the first satrap here. On the A1, attacks one enemy, has a 100% chance of stealing a random buff from the target. 120% chance when booked. Also has a 70% chance of placing a leech for 2 turns. Not a bad A1. Leech is nice to have. And then buff stealing is really nice, especially 100% on an A1. On the A2, attacks one enemy, has a 100% chance of placing decreased resistance, pain link, and decreased speed for 2 turns. These debuffs are protected when placed on bosses. You can pain link bosses. And then heals all allies by 5% of this champion's max HP each debuff placed, so that will be up to a 15% heal on top of some really strong debuffs. That's a really good skill. That makes him the second champion and the first non-mythical champion to have Pain Link in his kit, which is really, really cool. And on the A3, places block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns, heals all allies by 15% of their his max HP, heals by an additional 3% for each debuff on them. Interesting. Then removes there we go. There it is. Then removes any debuffs from allies negatively affecting stat and converts them into buffs. So decrease attack becomes increase attack. Block buffs become block debuffs. Heal reduction becomes continuous heals. Weakens becomes strengthens. So good. So good. Basically, you now have Amius. With a really cool A2. Then on the passive, increases this champion's max HP by 10% whenever this champion heals themselves using a skill. Stacks up to 50%, so now you're making him really tanky too. This guy's awesome. I want this guy. HP in all battles by 28%. The power creep is coming in hot. I want the frog. And then the other new champion is going to be a dwarf. This guy looked for the world like a damage dealer when I first saw him. Because look at him. Tell me this guy doesn't look like a damage dealer. He's not. He's a magic support champion. 109 base speed, which isn't bad. Look at this guy's aesthetic. I love that crystal on his back. I want this guy just for how cool he looks. I haven't even read his lore or anything. I don't really read the lore, but I know that's really cool for some people. On the A1, attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random active skill on the target by 2 turns. Also fills the turn meter of all allies by 10%. This isn't like Astrolith where you have to crit to get the turn meter boost. He just does it. So he's got Raka's passive on his A1. Okay. As well as some lockout. And then on the A2, has a 100% chance of removing all buffs from all enemies. Decreases the turn meter of all enemies whose turn meter is equal to or lower than 50% by 20%. If an enemy's turn meter is more than 50% full, decreases it by 50% instead. Imagine the poor guy who has 51% turn meter. Ouch. Has a 100% chance of placing a stun for 1 turn on enemies whose turn meter was reduced to 50%. So if they've got full turn meter and he does this skill, they're also getting a stun. That's a really, really, really weird skill. On the A3, full team ally attack. Before attacking, places increase attack and a shatter buff on all allies for 2 turns. Very interesting. Decreases the cooldown of all allies' active skills except this champion's by 1 turn if the target is killed. Wow. This guy could go really well with Admiral Blacktusk, the faction unity champion for this faction. He could go really well with him. Then on the passive effect, allies inflict 20% more damage against enemies under stun. Literally what I just said about Blacktusk just got even more true, because Blacktusk has a thing where you do more damage to enemies under stuns placed by him. I think it's like 100% more damage, and then he comes in with an extra 20, so you're doing 120% damage extra to targets under stun. And then the active effect on a 4-turn cooldown, when an ally is killed, instantly activates Magics of Irith. Will not put this skill on cooldown. Now which one was that? That was the A2. So you're getting the drop turn meter whenever an ally is killed on a 4-turn cooldown. And then he's got speed in arena by 28%. This guy's going to be fun too. They've released 2 really cool champions plus a really good fusion. Hopefully that train of thought continues with the Sylvan, but honestly I think they might be releasing all those really good champions to cope and compensate for the fact that she's gonna suck. That's gonna be my guess. I'll keep an eye out for new content dropping to see if anyone's talking about her, to see if she's any good. And as soon as I find out, I will let you guys know. Oh, I got 2 relics I can craft for you guys. Will we get a legendary? No, we'll get a Mask of Rage. Will we get something really good over here? Huh? No, we'll get a Mask of Rage. Okay. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Kind of overarching thoughts here at the end. Moral of the story, do this fusion. I'm going to even break the bank a little bit to make sure I do this fusion. This guy is a must-do. He is going to make this game really fun to mess around with, especially clan bosses. I'm going to enjoy doing content with this guy. I might even do some PvP action with him. If you don't take anything else away from this video, do the fusion. Alright, I'm gonna head out. I'll see y'all in another video. Stay happy and healthy, and stay tanky.